Okay, here's my audience. Okay. My speech is titled The Importance of Being an Informed Voter. The best defense against an usurpatory government is an assertive citizenry, said William F. Buckley Jr., a conservative journalist. And William Scranton, a former ambassador to the United Nations, said the value of government to the people it serves is in direct relationship to the interest citizens themselves display in the affairs of state. Today I'm going to be talking about a subject that makes some people uncomfortable. I'm speaking about civic responsibility. I'm speaking about voting. Voting is the exertion of our political will. Make no mistake, voting is a naked act of aggression towards those who would oppose your political views. It is the only redress you have against those who would politically act against your interests. According to the Encyclopedia Britannica, democracy comes from the Greek word demos and kratia, which translates to rule by the people. I believe in democracy. I believe in American democracy so much that I dedicated most of my adult life to its defense. It is not enough to make the sacrifice of service to your fellow citizens. We must allow ourselves to be burdened with the responsibility of voting for our democracy to function. According to the United States Census Bureau, between 2002 and 2008, voter participation has been approximately 50%, and despite a remarkable interest in voting in 2008, it is declining overall. You can see this on the handouts that I gave you in the visual presentation. According to pollster.com, polls conducted between September 2008 and May 2010 reveal that 68% of Americans are not satisfied with the state of the country. Additional polling shows that of the entire adult population, 26.4% are Republicans, 32.7% are Democrats, and 34.5% are independents. However, of the registered and likely voters, 33.3% are Republicans, 39% are Democrats, and 22.8% are independents. That is also in the handout. As you can see, there is a tremendous difference between political ideology among all adults and the voting population. Depending on your party political leanings, this could be good or bad news. With so much voter dissatisfaction and so many different points of view of how to solve our nation's problems, it is in each voter's interest to ensure that they are accurately represented in the political process. But there is a way to ensure that your voice is heard. If you are not registered to vote, you need to register. According to the Georgia.gov website, you can register by downloading, completing, and mailing in a registration form, contacting your local Board of Registrar's office, public library, public assistance office, or schools for information about a registration form you can complete and mail in. Registration is offered when you renew or apply for a Georgia driver's license. College students can get forms from the registrar's office, complete them, and mail them in. You'll see the website on the handout that I handed out to you guys in the presentation. One thing of note, in the state of Georgia, Georgia requires a photo ID in order to vote. And you can find those instructions on the Secretary of State website, also in your presentation. It is not enough to register to vote, though. You need to be an informed citizen. There are several unbiased sources you can look to fact-check what politicians are saying. PolitiFact.com is one example. PolitiFact.com is a bipartisan fact-checking organization. For instance, if you look in your handout, you will see they have a list of every single one of President Obama's broken promises. So in case you think it has a liberal slant, they also go after Nancy Pelosi, and they have every single false statement she's ever made. And for those of you who are liberal and would like to get dirt on a conservative, you can see John Boehner's, every false statement he made, and every Michelle Bachmann's false statements they made. If you look in your packet, you will see all of those. And if you look, each one that they say is false, there's a link you can click on, and they will break down for you, fact by fact, why it's a false statement, and you can decide for yourself whether it's a false statement or not. Another thing they're good for on this website is they have, if you ever get a chain email claiming something about the president or somebody, you can actually, they will fact check those emails for you. All you have to do is submit them, and the chances are it's probably already on there. But if you look in your presentation sheet, you will see examples of all of those. Another good site is factcheck.org. They're another bipartisan site. And just to give you proof of their bipartisanship, if you look in presentation, you will see an article about how the Democratic National Committee misleadingly edited one of Michael Steele's interviews to make it appear that he was saying something that he was not. Also, if you're a conservative and you want proof that they're bipartisan, there's an article in there about a Democratic opponent that lies about the Republican candidate's record. Specifically, that's Representative Zhu from Hawaii. His opponent makes a false claim about it, and he's called out right there, and you see it plain as day. And for those of you of liberal persuasion, if you're looking to fact check, it fact checks several claims about the Arizona immigration law, about whether it actually mirrors federal law or not, and some other claims about it. And it also fact checks many claims about the healthcare reform law. If you look in your presentation, you'll see those in there. So voting is your civic responsibility, and registration is simple. Voting is not enough, though. You need to be informed. The resources are in abundance, and they are easy to use. Currently, the Democrats control the Senate and the House of Representatives. The party in control decides the entire agenda for the Congress. They decide what comes up for vote and are favored for key positions on committees. Based on analysis and polling of other data, journalists at 538.com predict that there is an 88% chance that the Democrats will still have 51 Senate seats after November. It also shows that the Georgia U.S. Senate seat is greater than 95% safe for Republicans. If you look in your handout, you'll see the graphs of those data and some of the facts they use to support that. If you are a Republican and you need to improve your odds of gaining seats and getting control, you need to vote. And if you're a Democrat and you want to ensure your adequate margin, you will register to vote and vote. Also, there's local issues to be concerned with. Republican candidates for governor of Georgia want state schools to expel students based on their immigration status. Depending on your political leanings, you're going to be for or against this. It's a local issue that you will help decide. Not voting is an automatic vote for the status quo. If you look in your handouts, I have the article on there that discusses that from WSB.com. There are issues on the national and local level that you'll have an interest in. You need to be an assertive, informed, and voting citizen of your democracy for it to be a healthy democracy. The courage to vote is the lifeblood of our democracy. Without an informed and assertive citizenry, we will lose our voice and ultimately our government. Our government should be accountable to us and should fear us. Our apathy will only feed their complacency. Democracy cannot exist without an informed and assertive citizenry. Americans must be brave enough to shoulder the burden of voting. It is up to each and every one of you to preserve the legacy that we have been given. Vote, vote often, and vote with pride, and be informed. Thank you very much for your time. If I could get each of you to just come in front of the camera again so that my speech teacher can see that you're still here. Thank you very much for your time, guys. And thank you.